dangerous obsession. The rain poured relentlessly, tapping against the window like an unwelcome visitor. Emma sat alone in her small apartment, the flickering light of the television casting eerie shadows across the room. She was watching Dangerous Obsession, a suspense thriller she had stumbled upon on Film Plus. The movie told the story of a young woman stalked by a mysterious figure, and Emma found herself strangely captivated by the plot. Little did she know, her fascination with the film would soon become a haunting reality. Emma had always led a quiet life. She worked at a local bookstore, enjoyed long walks in the park, and spent her evenings curled up with a good book or movie. But recently, she had noticed strange occurrences that made her feel uneasy. It started with small things. Items in her apartment seemed to move on their own, her phone ringing with no one on the other end, and the feeling of being watched. At first, Emma dismissed these incidents as mere coincidences or figments of her imagination. But the unease grew, and she began to feel like she was living the very movie she had watched. One evening, as she returned home from work, she found a note slipped under her door. The words, written in a shaky hand, sent chills down her spine. "I see you." Panic set in, and Emma decided to call the police. The officers were sympathetic, but found no evidence of a break-in or any tangible threat. They advised her to be cautious and contact them if anything more concrete happened. Unsatisfied, Emma confided in her best friend, Sarah, who suggested installing security cameras in her apartment. Emma took Sarah's advice and set up cameras in every room. For a few days, nothing unusual happened, and Emma began to relax. But then, one night, she heard a noise in the living room. Heart pounding, she checked the live feed on her phone. There, on the screen, was a shadowy figure moving silently through her apartment. Terrified, Emma locked herself in her bedroom and called the police again. This time, they found evidence of forced entry but no sign of the intruder. They assured her they would increase patrols in her neighborhood. Emma felt a small measure of relief, but couldn't shake the feeling that the nightmare was far from over. Days turned into weeks, and the stalker's presence became more brazen. Emma would find personal items moved, photos of herself left in odd places, and unsettling messages written on her bathroom mirror. The police were at a loss, unable to catch the elusive tormentor. Emma's once peaceful life was now a living hell. She barely slept, constantly on edge, fearing the next encounter. She started to piece together clues, trying to understand why she was being targeted. Her investigation led her to a disturbing realization: the stalker was mimicking the plot of Dangerous Obsession. The revelation made her blood run cold. She rewatched the movie, noting every detail, hoping to predict the stalker's next move. It was as if the film was a script for her own life, each scene unfolding with terrifying accuracy. One night, Emma awoke to the sound of her front door creaking open. She grabbed her phone and hid in the closet, watching the live feed in horror. The stalker moved through her apartment with eerie familiarity, heading straight for her bedroom. Emma held her breath, trying to stay as silent as possible. The figure stopped outside the closet door, and Emma's heart nearly stopped. She could hear the heavy breathing of the intruder, feel the cold sweat dripping down her back. The door slowly creaked open, and Emma braced herself for the worst. But instead of attacking, the figure spoke in a low, menacing voice. "Why are you hiding, Emma? We have so much to discuss." The voice was chillingly familiar. Emma realized with dawning horror that the stalker was someone she knew. Gathering her courage, she stepped out of the closet, facing the intruder. "Why are you doing this?" Emma demanded, her voice trembling. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a face she recognized, Tom, a regular customer at the bookstore. He had always seemed harmless, a little shy, but nothing about him had ever raised red flags. Tom's eyes gleamed with a twisted obsession. "You were always so kind to me, Emma. I thought you understood me. When I saw you watching that movie, I knew it was fate. We belong together, just like in the film." Emma's mind raced, trying to think of a way out. "Tom, this isn't right. You need help. Please, let me go." But Tom shook his head, his expression darkening. "No, Emma. You need to understand. We're meant to be together. If I can't have you, no one can." In a desperate bid for survival, Emma lunged for the kitchen, grabbing a knife from the counter. Tom followed, his face contorted with rage. A struggle ensued, each fighting for control. Emma managed to slash Tom's arm, and he screamed in pain, but his grip on her tightened. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, the sound of sirens filled the air. The police burst through the door, guns drawn, and subdued Tom. Emma collapsed in relief, tears streaming down her face. Tom was arrested and charged with stalking and attempted murder. The police uncovered a disturbing shrine in his apartment, filled with photos of Emma and memorabilia from the bookstore. He had meticulously planned every move, drawing inspiration from the movie. Emma tried to rebuild her life, but the scars of her ordeal remained. She moved to a new city, changed her name, and started over, but the memory of Tom's dangerous obsession haunted her. She could never watch another suspense thriller without feeling a chill down her spine. In the end, Emma learned a hard lesson. Sometimes, the most terrifying monsters are not the ones in movies, but the ones who hide in plain sight, consumed by their dangerous obsessions.